We have a question from
Yes.
Farouk saying that is the scope different to assumptions? Actually, this is a little bit different concepts. So let's say that your scope of work is I will give you a context and then you try to explain. So we are building this again, returning to our street reconstruction, right? And our scope is to change asphalt, right? And we assume that water pipes are 1 meter below the ground surface, right? So we assume that we can dig 1 meter deep. So how this assumption influence our scope of work? So if we say we will reconstruct the street, and then our assumption is that we can dig 1 meter, but actually its assumption can be half of meter below the surface water pipes, and it can be a meter and a half. So how we should actually check, what activities should we do to make sure that our assumption is correct?
Well, when you are doing the assumptions, they need to be based on some evidence. It's not like okay, I think it's 1 meter or 1.5 meters because I think so. It can be based on your experience. Let's say that the rule in Poland to put a pipe under the ground is 1.5 meters. So your assumption is that every company that is putting a pipes in the Poland is doing it at 1.5 meters below the ground. This is your assumption based on some law, on your experience and the evidence that you have in the past.
Exactly.
And
so
how that can influence? Well, if the company was not following the rules, the pipe will be not 1.5 meters below, but half meter below, and you will have an issue.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's imagine that you don't know, that you don't have this information, the concrete information that you mentioned. So how it can influence your scope in such a way that you can say, I need to call my local representative, my local government, city government, let's say, so to check it. I need to check this with the architects or the city architects. So it can bring additional activities to your scope of work. So you assume that something is correct based on your knowledge, but then probably you need to check and clarify with some of your stakeholders.
Of course.
Right?